Okay, PBC ran out of money. The reason why Jermel didn't fight the guy from Poland, was because he thought he was going to get his typical 2.5 million or 3 million for the fight, and Heyman offered him 750, and then he refused to fight. Okay, that's what happened, because there's no money to fall back on to overpay these guys like there was before, because the 900 million dried up. That money ruined the business and sport, and it ruined the mentality of fighters wanting to fight competitive fights. Thinking he was going to get that Polish guy who can't fight a lick, okay, going to get 2.5 or 3 million to fight him. Heyman and Showtime wanted to pay him 750, and he balked.
How do you
That's
know
what's
that, Rick?
going on.
No
What?
disrespect. I'm asking you, how do you know how much they was trying to pay this guy?
How do I know who's paying it? What? Trying to pay who?
I did. Abu. Come on, Rick. You smarter than
A
that. I'm
boo
asking you a
what?
direct question. How do you know that Al Heyman and Steven was trying to pay this guy a certain
Oh,
amount of
oh,
money? You
Jamel Charlo told people. He told multiple people. Multiple people.
I
He
didn't
was
hear him
pissed
say that.
off.
That's why I'm asking you.
He was pissed off. Told people. Told multiple people, actually.
Well, Rick, it sounds like you know a lot about PBC. Why don't you just go work for them? You know enough about their business.
I don't need to work for PBC. My business is ultra successful. I do not need PBC. I don't need any one account. I have 47 clients. They're all happy, and I'm happy.
And I'll tell you what, I'm even happy that you're doing well. The thing
Thank you.
about it, no problem. You're welcome. The thing about it that might sound misleading when you say that, and you did agree with me that promoters do have fighters that they're having up in the up in the up and coming ranks to pay
Absolutely,
for.
but they don't
Nobody.
overpay their fighter to fight them.
Hey, the bottom line is the fighters got paid. Isn't that what you and I in the business for the fighters to get
No,
paid?
no, no, I'm
Oh,
not.
that's what I'm
I'm
in the
in the
business to get. That's why
well,
I'm in the
well.
business.
That's
I'm
why
in the
I'm
business
not a
for the
manager.
fighters to get
That's
paid.
that's why I'm not a manager. Thank
All
you.
right. So you're not
It's
a
it's
manager, and
not
you.
healthy. It's not healthy for the sport when the fighter gets overpaid.
I know it's
Oh,
not. You know why? That's the same thing Bob Arum said. That's because y'all can't get a piece of it.
that's it. Please,
Come on, Rick. We
totally,
know the business,
totally,
Rick.
totally incorrect.
We know the
Totally
business,
incorrect.
Rick. We know the business. I'm gonna protect the integrity of the business, but you know what I'm trying to say, Rick.
No, you're protecting integrity of business by not overpaying people ridiculous amounts of money.
Hey, the fighters got paid. It's all about the fighters getting paid, not the
But but
matchmakers and the
but
promoters.
the fighters aren't fighting often enough to overcome the difference. That's the problem.
Hey, they
Look
making
at
it
it.
happen. Hey, and guess what? You seen what Showtime did? Like you said, they opened their checkbook up and they got the deal done. Isn't that the same thing that Top Rank does, Rick? They get the money from ESPN. Same
Absolutely,
thing.
100%. There's a
Oh, all right.
hundred
What's
percent.
what's the
But the
problem?
difference is Top Rank does 66 shows a year. What does PBC do? 18.
And guess what? You know this, and I said this before. You know ESPN budget is not bigger than Showtime's, and you know that, Rick.
ESPN budget is much bigger than Showtime's.
They don't get paid over there like Showtime and them do.
What are you talking about?
The
Aaron
fighters
does
that
60.
fight, the fighters
eh,
that fight on ESPN Plus and regular ESPN do not get paid for the same price point over there at Showtime pay per view. We both know that. I know you cool with them over there. You did business
No,
with
no,
Bob for
no, no,
50
no.
years, but
What you're talking about apples and oranges. You're talking about a company that only does 18 shows a year and PBC and Showtime, when you're talking about a company that does 66 shows a year in Top Rank.
they can do 66 shows. Their fighters are getting paid less. Hello. You
Okay,
just said there's a
but but
budget
you're
issue.
but you're but you're looking at it from a Democratic standpoint. I'm looking at it from a Republican. I'm about the business. You're about the sport, the fighter.
No, no, I'm about the business and the
No,
fighter.
you're not, because
It's not
you're siding
democratic.
with you're saying the fighter's overpaid. It's all right. No, it's fucked up the business. You don't see it.
I see it. What it is let's keep it 100, Rick. You got 40 years in the business and you've been around since Don King, right? You've done work for Don King, correct, Rick?
Absolutely.
All right, then. So you understand the economic situation that fighters have been in for all of these years.
You're
Hence,
you're
the
you're missing
you
you're
you
missing
gonna let me
you're
talk,
missing
Rick?
the point. You're missing the point.
You
You're
gonna let me
missing
talk,
the
Rick?
point. Let me talk. You're missing the
You
point.
just cut me off,
You're
Rick. Let me
saying
finish my
what
statement.
you're saying is
Let
this
me
is
finish
what
my
you're
statement,
saying.
Rick. Hold on, let
Okay,
me finish
finish.
my statement. I got
Finish.
you.
Finish.
We're gonna be fair here. What I'm talking about, because you're saying is effing up the business when fighters are getting quote unquote overpaid by your standard, not by the standard of the budget, but by your standard now and the competitor standard, right?
No,
Now,
no, they're overpaid by the result. That's why they're only fighting once every 14 months.
no problem. But we know
Okay.
in this business, and you know better than I do, being in this business for over 40 years, working with Don King, Bob Arum, and the rest of those guys who have a lot of tenure in this business, that so many times the fighters were not getting paid their just due, and the promoter was eating off the fatted calf. They were the only ones benefiting financially, and the fighters wasn't. You agree with that, right?
No, I don't agree with that at all. Mike Tyson got $400 million. He went broke on his own volition because he's overspent.
He got
Okay.
400 million. He got
Oscar De La Hoya is worth $300 million today. Aaron paid him very well. He saved his money.
no. I'm not talking about the management of their finances. I'm talking about the contracts that lock these fighters in, and they're getting paid under the economic standard. And
Under
so,
what? Under what? When Terrence Crawford fought Sean Porter, he paid him $6 million and $4 million respectively. Heyman took the four. He couldn't even go to purse bids.
well, first of all,
Did Aram overpay him?
Terrence Crawford was under contract with Top Rank. We already know what his contract stated.
Right.
What I'm basically getting at is, for so many decades, these promoters have been making buku money hand over fist, and the fighter was left out to dry, making quote unquote under their market value. And you know that to be
Who?
true for
Who? No, I don't know that's
all the
true at all.
fighters.
Ali and Frazier got $5.5 million apiece. What do you? Way back then, that's like fucking 50 million today.
Right.
What are you
But you
talking
know,
about?
how many Alis did we have to make that kind of money? Ali.
There
One
was a
Ali,
lot of
bro.
guys. There was a lot of guys. There was Frazier, Foreman, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran. They all
And
made
guess what?
millions of dollars.
Right, but that was in an era. Let's use Ali since you used Ali. Ali was
Okay,
the first one, and then you had Sugar Ray Leonard who made 40,000 in his first fight. The next era. So it's always one or two fighters that make the big bank in each era. What I'm talking about
right.
overall, from the perspective of the business of boxing, overall, all of these fighters were not making the money that they really earned. They were being lowballed. And so what I'm saying to you is, if a fighter's getting overpaid according to your standard or the business standards of boxing, so what? They're putting their life on the line. Let
You're
them get
you're
paid.
you're you're missing the point going back to your original statement about making superstars. If you're paying a guy $3 million and he's fighting over every 14 months, he gets lost in the shuffle of everything else of all sports. It doesn't mean anything. If you're fighting 2 to 3 times a year and you're taking close to market value, let's say you're taking $1 million to $1.5 million. That's how you build a star. When Floyd was coming along, he was fighting three times a year. Oscar fought 5 times in 1 year and fought 3 and 4 times most years. That's how you make a star.
Right.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Well,
Mike
you're
Tyson
not
did it
with
too.
with that economic with Heyman's economic whatever I don't know if it's called a plan or what you call it. When you're fighting once every 14 months, you can't make stars. They're out too much. So instead of paying a guy 3 million once every 14 months, you fight him twice a year and you pay him 1.5 million apiece and you build up a star. That's how
Got
you
you.
do it. Well,
PBC,
they're not doing it.
I got you. PBC have built more stars than Top Rank and De La Hoya's company Golden Boy Promotions put together. And Rick, even you know that.
No, you're wrong. Golden Boy's the one that made all those guys stars. Don't look at me funny like that.
I'm looking at you
Okay?
funny like that because you know Al Heyman had all those guys under contract over there with De La Hoya, Rick. Get
They
a man his
they were
credit, Rick.
De La Hoya's fighters. He stole the fighters and had to pay a
No, he
lawsuit
didn't.
of four.
And guess what? He lost that lawsuit. Golden Boy lost that lawsuit, Rick.
No, they
And you
didn't.
know that.
No, they didn't. You're talking about two different lawsuits.
So what lawsuit you talking about?
$40 million when he sued Richard Schaefer and Heyman. He lost 40. The reason why he lost the second, like he paid $40 million. The reason why he lost the second lawsuit is because he already won the first one. And once you won the first one and alleviated the second one automatically, it was tossed out for that reason.
And guess what?
Okay, because
Don King stole fighters too. You know this is the nature of the business. If a fighter want to go with somebody else, they just go with him. You know that,
no,
Rick.
there's such things called contracts.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you. Oh, I agree with you. Everybody got to be obligated to that contract. What I'm saying is, it's still up to the fighters. And when the fighters do that, it does put the competition in limbo. All I'm saying is that PBC fighters are not the only one fighting once a year. You know what? I'm doing way too much talking, Rick. Let's take Terrence Crawford over at ESPN. When he fought Sean Porter, right? He fought once a year. Nobody ain't say nothing about him. He fought Kell Brook, and then a year later he fought Sean Porter.
It's not true. That's not true. He turned. Let me talk. He turned down fights. He turned down fights.
Who?
Terrence Crawford did. Not because of the opponents. Not because of the opponents. Because he didn't want to fight.
Name 2 fighters he turned down. Can you please?
He didn't. I just said to you. He didn't turn down fighters. He turned down fights, opportunities, dates.
Give us 2. Give us 2 fights
that he turned down. Are you fucking stupid? Are you a clown?
Hey, Rick.
I said to you, listen to me. I said to you, he turned down fights, not fighters.
Rick. I'm going to stop your mic right now, bro. I don't know what you're doing nobody else's channel, Rick. Don't unmute. You better jump off. You better jump off, Rick. You better jump off. I ain't them. He said all that and jumped off. He said all that and jumped off. I ain't them.